When I say artificial intelligence, what comes to mind? For many, they get a sci-fi vibe of robots taking over the world, like in the Terminator series. But I don't think we're quite there just yet. Right now, we're using things to help us check out faster at the grocery line or do really in-depth searches on the internet. The technology allows us to automate, or as I like to think of it, delegate tasks that most humans don't want to do or could be done faster if a human wasn't doing it. So let's talk about how using artificial intelligence is going to streamline your marketing so that then you can grow and expand your business.
Inkyma's Marketing Strategies is a podcast for small business owners hosted by Audrey Kirchner, co-founder and chief marketing strategist at Inkyma, helping you navigate the world of marketing so that you can market your business in the right way, see growth, and thrive regardless of the industry you're in. To learn more about Inkyma and what we do, ask a question, or schedule a marketing evaluation, go to the website inkyma.com. That's INKYMA.com. Listen to the show on your podcast player of choice, the Inkyma website, or the Inkyma YouTube channel. Just search for Inkyma Marketing Strategies and you'll find what you need.
Before we dive in, I want to talk a little bit about show notes with you. I'm going to be referencing technologies, previous episodes, all sorts of good things, and they're all going to be linked in the show notes. So if there's anything you want to take a deeper dive on, learn more about, go back and listen to other episodes, go to the website, inkyma.com, INKYMA.com, and then you can get all that information in the show notes for this particular episode. So let me start out by putting artificial intelligence into context for marketing. AI, artificial intelligence, has become really a catch-all term for anything automation related. And so that's why I'm using it today, because it's an extremely relatable term. When I say it, people start thinking of these things. Technically, not everything I'm going to talk to you about today is strictly artificial intelligence, meaning it's not a machine that can learn and think for itself, but it's really closer to adaptive automation, and it's really all based off the data that's being provided. Remember that phrase because I'm going to talk about it closer at the end. So I just want to make sure that it's clear about where I'm coming from when I use the term artificial intelligence in this episode, because I know there's some really smart techie people that are listening and I don't want them to think that I'm talking about something completely different. So let's move on from that. In my intro, I mentioned delegating, right? Delegating tasks that most humans don't want to do or that technology can do faster and in many, many instances cheaper. And that is really the reason why that not just from a business perspective or from a marketing perspective, but that everybody is really embracing this. And this type of industry, this technology industry is taking off. And there are just more and more companies doing more and more things out there today. So let me give you a real world example of what I'm talking about here that has actually been in place for quite some time. Unless you live in the great garden state of New Jersey, you pump your own gas. New Jersey is the last state in the nation that doesn't allow you to pump your own gas. So in New Jersey, you pull up to the pump, you wait for an attendant to come over and you tell them what grade you want, how much you want, and you hand them your credit card. And then they actually go and they put the credit card into the system, do all the things, and put the nozzle in your car. And you hear the clunk of the gas starting to go into the car, and the attendant walks away. Now, this may be really great and wonderful on a horrible weather day, but the majority of the time, it is extremely frustrating. And it takes 3 times as long to have someone do this for you than for you to use this wonderful, simple, easy to use pay at the pump system all by yourself. And having lived in New Jersey for most of my life and then recently transplanting here to the wonderful state of Colorado, this is from experience that I am talking about here. So just that pay at the pump experience is just one very simple, easy to understand piece of automation or artificial intelligence. There's something wrapped up in that system that it can read your card, know it's you. If there is some type of a rewards program, you plug in your card, it gathers the data, and then it tells you how much you could get off per gallon based off of other spending you've done in the area. So really cool and super, super useful. And I do love pumping my own gas. So let's talk about what artificial intelligence means in marketing. So again, using technologies or systems that either replace a person who doesn't really want to do the task anyway because it's tedious or boring, or by replacing them, it makes the process faster and more accident-proof. When something is tedious and boring, we don't tend to pay attention to it as much because it's not something we're hyper-focused on, and that's where mistakes get made in those instances. AI can also be a marketing tactic in and of itself. Think of customer service, creating a better experience for your customers or your clients. So let's think about that example that I just used about pumping your own gas. So if you are pumping your own gas, you have to get out of the car and you set everything up, and then you're just waiting for it to fill. It took you maybe a minute. And many times people will take their card, walk into the convenience store and buy stuff while their gas is being pumped because they know when they come out, they don't have to wait. They can just take care of it, get in their car and go. Unlike in New Jersey, where the attendant puts the nozzle in and then they walk away, as soon as you hear that final clunk that it's done, you're looking around and then you're silently pleading with that attendant to come back as quickly as possible to take it out so that you can leave. So you're not thinking about going to get a soda. You're not thinking about going to get a snack. You're thinking about, oh my goodness, when are they going to unhostage my car? And then if it takes too long, the person sitting there is frustrated and wants to drive away quickly because maybe they're late for an appointment or they're late for work. And so that's where this type of intelligence really heightens the customer service experience because you're not waiting for a person who probably doesn't want to be there pumping gas anyway. Most gas attendants I've seen look miserable. They look angry, and you kind of like know that they don't want to talk to you. The other great thing to think about when it comes to systems and automations is that, yeah, you're paying for them, but they don't take sick days. They don't take vacation days. They don't forget to do something because they're mad at their kids and they're focused on something else. And they don't decide not to do something because they're bored with it or because they don't have enough time because they have these 9 million other things to do. And despite what we think, humans can't multitask. Not in the sense of a system can multitask. Artificial intelligence is always cheaper than human labor, and it's usually by more than half. So let me give you an example of what I mean by this. There is a really cool tool out there called Zapier, and you can set it up to run a bunch of different automation tasks, and you pay by the month. So a $30 account will get you up to 20 tasks that it will do. And then if you need unlimited, that's $75 a month. And here are some of the things it can do. I'm just going to give you like 4 examples of what it can do. It can post blog articles to your website or take website blog articles and post them out to wherever you want them. It can send calendar event reminders to attendees on your calendar, regardless of the type of calendar you have. It can add event registrants from your Zoom account to your customer relationship manager system, if you have a MailChimp or a Constant Contact. And then based off of whatever criteria you have set up for that, it can send out emails automatically on specific dates and times to specific people, both before, during, and after the event. If you have someone fill out a contact form on your website, you can use a Zapier Zap, as they like to call it, to add them to your personal email account so you can email with them whenever you want, or again, to that CRM system, the MailChimp, the Constant Contact. So here's the question I have for you. $30, $75, how much do you pay one person in your business per month? I'm pretty sure it's more than $30 a month. And given all the things I just talked about, that person's probably not going to want to do any of those things that I talked about. So in a nutshell, artificial intelligence automates decisions and tasks, and it's going to save you time. It's going to save you money. And it's going to help you create a better customer service experience for your clients, your customers, and your leads. And this is why it's really important to automate as much as possible in your marketing so that you and your team can focus on the important things in your business, on your business, that only a human can do. Okay, so now I want to walk you through a couple of examples of artificial intelligence in marketing. I'm going to hit like the major areas of marketing: your website, your social media, your digital advertising, and email marketing, just to give you a sense of just some things that you can do, because what I just rolled off earlier, it's just like the tip of the iceberg. So let's start with websites, right? Because that's one of our biggest assets for our marketing as business owners. So I'm going to give you two segments of examples: service-based companies and e-commerce companies, because there's different things that you can do, but there's certainly more than what I'm going to talk about. So the first thing for service-based companies is if you're constantly scheduling appointments with leads and customers on your website, you can put a button to schedule an appointment and then use a system like Calendly, Calendly. There's a link in the show notes too. And what this system does, it actually connects their system to your calendar. Doesn't matter what kind of calendar you have. You can have a Google Calendar, Microsoft Calendar, Calendly doesn't care. Then you set up times where you're going to accept this type of meeting. And then it syncs with your calendar and only shows people availability in those specific time frames. So it could be Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, or maybe you only do these type of appointments from 3 to 7. And then if you already have something booked, it doesn't show that person that time. So that when they pick something for that particular type of event, you know that the time they're getting, you're actually available. And you can set up multiple different types of events with different time frames, and you can attach all sorts of things. Calendly is a really wonderful tool. And this way you're not going back and forth with 7 emails. What time's good for you? What's going to work for you? And then you get it on and you get it out. And then you can even put a default location. So if you're going to do it as a Zoom or if you're going to do it in person, really, really great tool. Another thing for service-based companies and even for e-commerce companies, so this example is going to go both ways, is that we really love, you ask people to sign up for your email, right? You see it on a lot of sites. Some do a great job, some don't. What we do is we like to give people things for signing up. It really makes it more likely that they're going to sign up. We'll talk about it that way. And so we give them a high value download, or you can do something like a survey or a calculator. So like if you're in the mortgage industry, you can do a mortgage calculator. It's different for everybody. And what's great is these calculators actually capture more information about the person. And then depending on what they filled out in the survey or download or anything, you then pull them into the email system and you can design a series of emails to go out to get them to buy or warm up to the services that you're offering. And all of this is done without a human getting involved. So those first couple of warm-up contacts can actually be done via automation rather than having a human do it. So now let's talk about an e-commerce specific type of an engagement program that starts with automation at the website. People are going to give you their contact information when they purchase a product from your online site, or maybe even if they don't purchase. Sometimes they create the account, they don't make the purchase, they abandon a cart. All of that information is gathered in the back end. And based off of what they're doing, you can send them a series of emails to get them to either finish the purchase, make a purchase, or if they did make a purchase, set something up into the future to get them to do another purchase. And then depending on your product and service, maybe you have something that's a consumable and they need new stuff every month. Great. You set that up to send something out every month. Maybe it's every 2 weeks. Maybe it's every 6 months. Doesn't matter. It can be set up to specifically what you need. And all of that based off of what they put in on your website when they first made contact with you. Now let's talk about social media. So the number one thing with social media is a scheduling tool. There are tons of them out there. You write your posts, you create your video, your images, and then you upload all of them at one time to this scheduling tool and say, send them out at this date and time on these social channels. Really great. But you can take that scheduling tool concept to another level. There are tools out there like Social Pilot. That's the one we like to use that we're checking out these days. And not only do you schedule those posts, but you can actually pull in RSS feeds of other blogs, your own, any type of feed, and automate and automatically send these out when there's something new and available. So you can get real-time things posting to your social accounts that you didn't create, or that you did create, but it was on your blog, and you don't have to copy and paste and put it into a scheduling tool. So really, really cool. And then Facebook itself, right, our number one social platform as of this recording, also has a lot of artificial intelligence built into it. But the one thing that I think is cool is what they build into business pages messaging systems. It used to be the messaging was there, and then you had to respond to them yourself. And then they gave you at least something where you said, hey, thanks, I'm going to reach out to you in a minute. So they got something. Now it's a lot more sophisticated. You can set it up so that if you have FAQs, like people ask you the same thing over and over again in Messenger, it already gives them that information. So that if they click on the button that says, where can I buy? What are your business hours? What's your pricing? You can put the answers in there and they can select it. Or if they put the question in there, it automatically pops up to get it answered. And that this allows them to get the information they need quickly, even at 1 a.m. while you're asleep. I hope you're sleeping at 1 a.m. I really do. You're listening to Inkyma's Marketing Strategies, and I'm Audrey Kirshner, and we're talking about artificial intelligence and how it can improve your marketing so then you can spend more time expanding and growing your business. Now let's talk about digital advertising. The two main platforms, Google and Facebook, have intelligence built into them, really sophisticated intelligence for A/B testing. If you haven't listened to the episode that I did on A/B testing, it's episode 28. It's in the show notes. Go back and listen to it. It's really fascinating, and I walk you through how to set it up and what to do and all that other good stuff. But really what it is you test different options of images and text to see what works better and gets better results in an ad. And so what Google and Facebook have done is they let you put in up to 5 options of text, title, and then you can put in images and videos, and you put in different sizes of your logo, and then it mixes and matches and combines these to find the right group of title, text, image, or video that works best and drives the most conversions of what you're trying to do. And then after it's done some learning and you go back and look at it, it'll actually say, hey, this one piece of text isn't doing anywhere near as well as anybody else. Write some new text. And then what they'll do is they'll put that in and they'll retest it over again so you can optimize all the different tests, which is pretty cool. This is a hugely labor-intensive process if you're doing A/B testing manually and putting 10 to 15 different ads together all on your own. So this is a huge time saver, and you get much better results when they're doing it. Now let's talk about one of my favorite topics, email marketing. And in email marketing, the intelligence is all in the personalization and in the segmentation. So email marketing systems like MailChimp, we've talked about them as well, have that artificial intelligence built into it with the segmentation and the personalization. And you can segment your audiences 9 ways to Sunday in systems like this. So you can do that segmentation and send a single email, or you can do this segmentation and set up a series of emails that go out specific dates and times based off of data that's in your system and the segmentation that you're doing. So I'm going to give you 2 examples, one simple, one complex, so that you can really understand what email marketing can do. Okay, so a simple example is sending out birthday cards on people's birthdays. These can be digital cards. There are systems out there that will also send physical cards that you have designed up for that year, and it's based off of the data that's in your system. You put in the person's birth date, their original birth date, and this is great for companies that have to collect birth dates. Insurance companies can simply do this because it's a required field for when they're registering with you. So you put the birth date in, and then the automation says, hey, every year on this month and day, send this person a birthday card. So that's the segmentation. And it's going to keep doing it over and over again until you tell it to stop. Every year you can change up the design of the card. And then if you're doing something where it's an email birthday card, you can even add some personalization, put the person's name in there, have it calculate the year, all that kind of fun stuff can be put in there. So that's the simplest idea. Now let's talk about something a little more complex. So if in your industry and the way that you do business is you have to do annual or any type of contract renewal over and over again where they have to say, yes, I want this rate and I want to buy it again from you, right? It's not just an automatic renewal. Or they have to request a proposal. Health insurance, car insurance, anything along those lines. This is a really good thing for too. Or even for things like yard maintenance and sprinkler on and off and all that good stuff. You can use something similar to this. This is all going to be based off of a date of the last proposal or the last time that you did something with them. So let's say you gave a client a proposal and they didn't renew it with you. They went with someone else for that particular service. You can put that date in there, tag them as lost, and then you can tell the system anybody from the date in this field, 9 months out, put them in this email series. 4 or 5 emails reminding them renewals are coming up again. You'd love to be able to requote to them. Things have changed. You probably have better rates, whatever the right language is, and have that go out so that you don't have to worry about remembering to call them or track them down. Let the email do it for you. And then you interact with them when they actually do reach out. So that is a little bit more complex. There's a lot of different moving parts there, but in essence, it works exactly the same way. So now that I've given you all these examples, maybe you're asking the question, what makes all of this work? And if you remember very close to the beginning, I said it's all based on data, right? It's not just machine learning or the machine figuring out this stuff itself. It's really all about the data. And it has to be good data. You have to put good data in and you have to do it frequently or often, whatever makes sense for your industry. If when you're putting in your customers and you don't put that date of birth field in there, then you can't send birthday cards because you have nothing to trigger it off. And let's say you only have their birth month, but not the day, then you can't have it go out on the day. You have to set it up so that anybody that has that month for their birth month gets a card at some point in the month. So you've got to figure those things out. And this isn't just specific to artificial intelligence. You really need all of this data anyway. Like I said, you may need it to fill out their proposal. You certainly need it for your marketing to see if your marketing is effective. It's the data that's telling you what's working and what's not working. So if you're running a marketing program now, you should be collecting data and evaluating it and looking at it. So why not use that data to automate with as well? And again, AI only works if you have the data. So if you don't have the data, that's the first thing you're going to need to do. Even when I get into take action, step 0 is get good data. So before I get into taking action and doing all those great things, I want to just kind of talk about AI from a writing perspective. That's a new big buzzy thing this last year in the marketing world and in the world of content writing. There are tools out there now that will write content for you. But they're not where I think they need to be yet, not to replace a human. I think a writer can use them to support their writing. I think it's at that point. But for someone who's not a writer or who wants to replace a writer with a tool like this, we're not there yet. And I think we're quite a few years out for something like that. Okay, so now let's talk about taking action, taking all this information that we just talked about and you getting to the next thing or the next step with it. So we talked about step 0. Having good data. Step 1 is take a look at your current marketing plan and your goals and what you're trying to achieve for the year. Then decide, are there any new or existing tasks that are being done that you can automate? Think about it. And not just those tasks, but customer service. Don't forget, artificial intelligence is a marketing tactic in and of itself as well when it comes to things like follow-up and customer service. Next, look at what tools are available. What tools can make things faster, cheaper, easier? Things like Calendly. Zapier is always good to look at. If you Google it for a specific topic, like I want to automate XYZ, there's probably a tool out there for it. And if they don't automate it, then do a search that says, can Zapier automate this system to that system? Zapier's got really good tutorials and search and what they integrate with. They do about 90% of anything out there with actually doesn't require a whole lot of setup either. So once you've done that, now I want you to start with one task. Figure out what that is, decide what tool you're going to use, figure out how to set it up. There's a little thinking and learning involved in this, but then what I want to make sure you do is you test it. Just because you set something up doesn't mean it's going to work. When we do it, we always test every single automation we create, even if it's something we've done 4 or 5 times, because every environment is different. And usually when we find a problem, it's a very tiny setting that we completely forgot about or didn't know it existed that just kind of threw the whole thing off. And then lastly, once you get that one done, have a little celebration, pat your team on the back, and then repeat for as many tasks as you want to do. And I think the more you do, the more you're going to think about wanting to do more, right? Because then you get this work off your plate. You have peace of mind that you know it's always being done. And then it becomes a little addictive. You start thinking, what can I automate? What can I do here? Always balance and automate what you can, but don't try to automate things that shouldn't be automated. So my final thoughts for you on this topic is if you're not good at technology, and a lot of people aren't, and it's okay, or you're just really busy, this is something you should absolutely delegate, and it's worth the money. It's worth the money to do this. So either delegate it to an internal employee or to an agency like ours. We set up artificial intelligence and automation for our clients all the time, regardless of what we're doing for them. We may just be doing their website. We may just be doing their email marketing, but it's ingrained in our company DNA that, okay, let's automate as much as possible and then figure out what a human needs to do next. Don't forget that time is an investment, just like money. So don't think that you are too busy to do this, because artificial intelligence has a huge return on investment. You spend a little bit of time now, either delegating it, putting it together, hiring an agency to do it, or to do it yourself, and you reap the benefits basically forever going forward. So it's a win-win. So make sure you make the time to do this. Here at Inkyma, we like to give back to the business community. I provide a free 45-minute consultation to any business owner, regardless of what you're looking for. Maybe you're not looking for a marketing company right now. Maybe you just want some more thoughts on artificial intelligence or on what you can put on your website to get people to do things like schedule an appointment with you or fill out a form. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Just go to my website, Inkyma.com, that's INKYMA.com, and click on the schedule a marketing evaluation, and you will get a little bit of our AI where you can pick your date and time on my calendar, and then we are all set up, and then you and I will meet as humans. Maybe all you have is just a quick question. You can also go old school and fill out our contact form in the footer. It'll send me an email and I will respond back. I hope you found the information in this episode helpful. Please share this podcast with other business owners, because I'm pretty sure if it's going to help you, it's going to help other business owners. And if we all help each other, then the entire community grows. And that is what this podcast is all about. So thanks for listening and have an amazing day.